everybody. I love it. I love seeing what's going in the chat already. This is going to be a great evening. Welcome. And just wanted to tell everybody, thank you so much for joining us on International Women's Day. Woo! If you guys feel so inclined, feel free to put your cameras on. This is a complete open dialogue, comfortable surrounding. And again, I just want to welcome you to the Power of Her, where we help everyone rise. And that's what this is about. Brought to you by Collective Society and sponsored by Mary Kay, which we are so grateful for. So we're going to kick it off, and I'm going to introduce you guys to our panelists. So I'm Kanya Marte, the founder of Collective Society 360. Together with my team, we work to bring you guys these seminars and different types of events. And then we have McKinney, who some of you may have seen already. If this is not your first time joining us, then you will have recognized McKinney Smith. She's an author, mindset coach, and she's just great. Harpreet Gill, so excited to have her. Had the best conversation with both Harpreet and Kim. Harpreet's a financial advisor, educator, and trailblazer, and Kim is health and wellness. So Harpreet, she's taken her passion for community work and entrepreneurship pretty much to a whole nother level. She is just blazing trails in providing financial literacy and solutions. Growing up in a marginalized community herself, she just realized there's a lack of literacy accessing sound financial resources. So that's Harpreet. And then we have Kim Fitzpatrick is a networking marketing professional. She's so passionate and authentic leader. By the time I was done talking to Kim, even just preliminary before this, I was like redoing stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, is my planner ready? It was great. And that was in like 5 minutes. And together with her husband, her business partner, they've helped over 6,500 people achieve physical, emotional, and mental transformation. And she's the founder of Legacy by Kim, a headband line and a gift headband give back program. She believes everyone deserves more, and she's here to help everybody. Then we have Jolene Jean-Claude from Mary Kay's own health and beauty sales director, entrepreneur, completely fierce, multi-talented woman. Speaking with her was just a pleasure as well. She's born in Haiti, and she arrived in Quebec at 5 years old and has been living there ever since. She holds her bachelor degree in biology, her teaching certificate, and she's also an entrepreneur at heart and blazes trails and is a leader and a force to be reckoned with Mary Kay. So I'm going to give you guys a few housekeeping rules, and then I'm actually just going to play a little bit of a video just to set the tone and let you guys know what's going on. So we do want this interactive. So while you're here, jump in the chat room, have your questions, and we will address the questions either after or during the segment. And we also have some different polls and stuff that we can have you guys engaged in as well. So we're also asking that just be respectful of the person speaking. And if somebody actually wants to jump in when the floor is open and speak their truth, feel free. Honestly, guys, I just want everyone to feel like this is your safe space. This is what it's for. We're here to connect. We're going to talk to each other. We're going to tell each other things, and we're going to do shameless plugs for each other's businesses, each other's Instagram, because we want to connect. And we will also have a connection outside of this with our Facebook page. I see people from Chicago, Nova Scotia, everywhere. So this is great. So I'm going to play this video just to set the tone and just let you guys know what the Power of Her is all about.
There are no mistakes. There really aren't any, because you have a supreme destiny. When you're in your little mind, in your little personality mind, where you're not centered, where you really don't know who you are, that you come from something greater and bigger, and that we really all are the same. When you don't know that, you get all flustered. You get stressed all the time, wanting something to be what it isn't. There is a supreme moment of destiny calling on your life. Your job is to feel that, to hear that, to know that. And sometimes when you're not listening, you get taken off track. You get in the wrong marriage, the wrong relationship, you take the wrong job. Yeah, but it's all leading to the same path. There are no wrong paths. There are none. There's no such thing as failure, really, because failure is just that thing trying to move you in another direction. So you get as much from your losses as you do from your victories, because the losses are there to wake you up. When you understand that, you don't allow yourself to be completely thrown by a grade or by a circumstance, because your life is bigger than any one experience. What would you say to your younger self? Every person says in one form or another, I would have said, relax, relax. It's gonna be okay. It really is gonna be okay. Because even if you're on a detour right now, and that's how you know when you're not at ease with yourself. That is the cue that you need to be moving in another direction. Don't let yourself get all thrown off, continue to be thrown off course. When you're feeling off course, that's the key. How do I turn around? So when everybody was talking about, when I started this network, if I had only known, good Lord, how difficult it would be.
Thank you. That was really powerful. And one of the things that really resonated with that video was, what would you tell your younger self? Who are you? What would you do? What have you done? And how do we move forward as a sisterhood? And how do we move forward with, people on this call who you might not have known? Take a look at the comments, let's engage, let's interact. So what we're going to do, we're just going to start with some questions and some open fireside chat, and let's talk to our panelists and let's just get this started. So my first question is, what got you into what you want to do? What inspired you to get into your field? How did you get started?
Yes, thank you, Connie, for that question. Honestly, I never in a million years thought that I'd be in the financial services industry. My background is social work. That's what I did for 17 years. Amount of hours, all different types of jobs. And I knew how to work for my money, but I didn't know how to make my money work for me. And one of the things that I wanted to get into was home ownership, like so many people. And I knew that I needed a mortgage. I knew that a mortgage was a debt, but I didn't really understand all the details of how a mortgage worked. So I decided to go to the bank and make an appointment with an advisor and ask questions. But in less than 2 minutes, I was told to come back when I had about $60,000 in my bank account. And at that time, I had nothing close to that. I was just coming out of school, had $32,000 of student loan debt. And I felt so defeated. I was just, I didn't know what to do, because I know that you can go on Google, you can read and you can research, but there's just so much information. You don't know what's real, what's not, what's applicable to you. And even though you might get the theory side of things, you don't know how it looks like in actual application for your own self. And that was, although that encounter was so discouraging, honestly, it was a blessing in disguise, because it made me open up my eyes and made me realize that area of finances. Can you imagine when I need to make other decisions with my money and I won't be able to get the help that I need because I'm quote unquote not qualified, because I'm not a wealthy person. And being in social services, I love helping people. It's always been my passion. But one of my bigger passion was to create systemic change. And you realize after 17 years, you can't do that. But the more I started learning about money, the more I started to realize that the real way that we can create systemic change for so many Canadians is by understanding how money works and becoming empowered to make our money work for us, and we don't become a slave to it. And that's where my passion really started. I decided to get licensed as an insurance agent and to be able to do registered investments like TFSAs, RSPs, RESPs, all that kind of stuff. And that was kind of my gateway to getting into this industry in the first place.
Oh, that's awesome. And it just resonates. Like you just wanted to open the path and create your own trail, blaze your own trail, because you don't want to take no for an answer. And that's where a lot of people do start. This brings me to Jolene. You came here from another country, and you came here so young, and different things that you've learned. How did you start, Jolene, and what was your passion and behind you starting as an entrepreneur? I don't think we can hear you. So while we do that, maybe Makini, if you would like to hop in on that, that'd be great.
I'm sorry, because my internet is last week.
No worries. No,
Are you
hey,
hearing
all a
me?
part of the business.
Okay, so you hear me? I can go?
Yes, for sure. Please do.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. So for my part, it's like April. I didn't see myself being an entrepreneur. I was a teacher teaching science. And for me, it was like, it's going to be all my life. And because it's been like 8 years that I was teaching, and I was good on that position. But when I started to have kids, I found myself missing something. So I was a little bit destabilized. I'm sorry, I'm going to put some French and English, okay, so I know you're going to understand my heart. So and now I was praying and asking God, is it my life? Don't I feel not completely the mother I meant to be? And that's hurt my heart. But I keep still moving in my position because I still loving teaching. And by that time, I was painting. This table, it's one of my creation, and painting was my way to, to create new things and everything. And by painting, I become to become an artist, a makeup artist, and it was the same thing. Like put color on the face and put color on the board. It's the same thing. So and now somebody talked to me about Mary Kay. Why you don't buy Mary Kay cosmetics? So you can use the color cosmetic to do your own makeup, and that's how I start. And I never see myself as an entrepreneur. Never. My brother was an entrepreneur. I was like, how we can live with that, instant, live without that, not stable on the money and everything. I was wondering how he's doing it, and I know that I found out after, when you love what you're doing, when your why it's big, you can angle anyhow. So that's why I'm very happy to that I make that choice. I'm very happy that I made that risk, because it was a risk for me. I quit my job and I decided to become a director full-time with Mary Kay. And it was the best decision I made. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It sounds like everyone's just taking it and figuring out their own pathway, which is really important. Makini, I know that you have gone through different things, and it's funny because you're an introvert, and now everything you do is out there and your persona and everything. So how did you get started? Where did you find the passion?
So interesting enough, I never thought I would become an entrepreneur. In 2009, while going through the divorce and becoming a single mom, I had to look at, I was a stay-at-home mom for 4.5 years. I had that income that they were used to from, my partner making multiple six figures. So I jumped into real estate at the time. But in my second year of real estate, my sister passed away in 2012. And people were reaching out to me, letting me know, how she made a difference in their life and how she made them feel. Like, how do I want to be remembered? And a friend of mine who forced me to watch the documentary, The Secret, I wasn't really paying attention to it in that moment, but then coincidentally enough, while doing a real estate deal, I got a phone call from a complete stranger who reached out, who was following me on Twitter, with an opportunity for me to meet Bob Proctor, who would later become my mentor. But it was through my own journey of personal development where I was like, everybody needs to know this information, learning how to tap into my potential. I was like, I need other women to know this information, especially knowing that I was coming from being that woman who was the stay-at-home mom for 4.5 years and didn't know who I was or what I wanted to do. It was like, I don't know, I spent my life serving my kids, my husband. I didn't know who McKinney was. And getting into personal development opened up my mind to so many possibilities of, what I could do, the impact that I can make, and the legacy that I could leave. So I got really excited about helping others do the same. And I feel like it's an absolute blessing to be able to wake up every day, and that's my life.
Yeah, I love that. I definitely can relate there as well. Especially when you lose someone significant, it just makes you reevaluate a lot. And I'm sure every single one of us on this call have had that moment or something that's happened. Cam, I would love to bounce this question to you as well. I know you have an amazing story as well. I would love just to hear how you started and what got you into doing what you did.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, thank you so much, Connie. Thanks, everybody. I love hearing the stories. I feel like there are so many synchronicities here. First of all, I still can't spell the word entrepreneur. I'm so thankful for the autocorrect. It's the U and the E and the I don't know. But I will say I'm a gerontologist by designation. I actually went into the world of senior living and working with older adults when I was in my early 20s. I remember, I lost my mom at a very young age. She was 11 months old. And, she decided to have me over cancer treatment. And my mom passed 11 months after I was born. And, for a long time, I just put so much responsibility on myself to have to live this big life, right? Live this big life. And what is my legacy, to McKinney's point? And how am I supposed to live this life? But with that came all this layered doubt and healing and pain and grief and so many different things that I kind of came up against in my childhood, my early 20s to mid 30s. And I really feel like I sort of started to get to know myself. And I started to really heal once I had my children. And that's when I started to realize, wow, hold up here. There is so much more in this world. When I started to realize that I was good enough, I was unapologetically loved. And all of that had to start from within myself. I have been a personal development junkie since I was 18. And that's when my healing journey really started. Really being in the field of geriatrics and senior living and working in the field of senior living in Ontario. For those of you that work in healthcare, you know that your paycheck is second. You do it for the heart, not for the money. And I remember Jamie, my husband, and I, and Jolene, I really resonated with what you said. I remember it was November of 2014. I was bawling. We were both trying to get home. We were the 6:05 parents. We were always late for the YMCA because we would work all over Southern Ontario in our corporate jobs. And I was like, is this it? Is this our life? Is this where we're going to go? Being clawing paycheck to paycheck, trying to pay down our, is this all the answer is? And actually it was my husband that decided to partner into our company that we partnered in with, which was health and wellness. And, again, I've always loved fitness and mindset and all these things. And I'm so ever thankful that he decided to go and start to partner with this company that actually really helped me realize, wow, I actually don't only love helping seniors change their life. I love helping everybody change their lives. And actually, I'm having more fun with people that are not leaving this world. In fact, they're here for a very long time and I get to help them enhance it. So it hit all the marks for me. It hit all the marks for me, wanting to know that my worth, I needed to figure that out, right? I needed to find my worth and find my place and find how I was going to live this legacy. But most of all, I knew that I wanted to inspire other people to do the same, because if I could be this hurt little girl that has healed and grown and met the most incredible people and helped, to make massive change for other people, all while doing that for herself, then I know that I was going to be able to really do something in this world. And I'm so happy, and been able to raise my kids and completely change our lives. And, I never, ever knew that would be able to happen. So that's a little bit about me.
That's great. And it just seems like the common theme here has been just everybody just looking back and trying to find something better for themselves and understanding their worth. And like talking about looking back, we all have those moments of the would have, should have, could have. We do that, 10 minutes ago to 10 years ago. What did you do? What did you do to change that? And like, if you could speak to your younger self, what exactly, if you had to pen a letter, what would you be telling your younger self to become the person who you are now and ever evolving? I have you here on the screen. I'll start with you, Kim, and then we will kick that to Harpreet.
Okay. Oh my goodness. I love this. It made me want to grab my heart, because I think that every single day I talk to her, right? Every single day I talk to her. I'm going to get emotional. And I think it's important to honor your path. And I would say to her, gosh, you're going to get more sleep later in your life than you ever realized. You are going to do more work on yourself, and you're going to learn how to lead yourself first. You are going to learn how to silence those negative thoughts. You are going to learn how important it is to be who you authentically are, instead of dimming your light because you've been told you were too much, too bold, too loud your entire life. And in fact, that will be your greatest superpower. And when you can start to step into who you are and where you want to go, and you're aligned in your purpose, and you're aligned with your passions, and you're aligned with your mission, your life will unfold exactly the way it's supposed to. That's
I
what I would
love
say to
that.
her.
Oh, so many nuggets there. Superpower, aligning with your mission, and just that there's just so much there to unpack, and we will definitely get into it the more we go. Harpreet, I would love to ask this question for you. And you know what? This is such a touching topic as well. I know I said if anyone wants to put a message in there, but if anyone has something on their heart, like, let's rip off the Band-Aid. And if you do, put it in the chat, and we'll get back. If you want to be on screen and say something, we can save that as well. So and talk about that. Let's everybody get involved. Harpreet, what would you tell younger self, Harpreet, just running down the way? What are you saying to her?
You know what? I'm just listening to all the ladies' stories. I feel like I'm hearing my own story within all of everybody's story. So I feel emotional just hearing you guys, because I'm hearing myself. And one of the things that I think everything you go through in life shapes you to being where you are right now. So if I go back to tell myself anything other than what I experienced, I don't know, maybe I would be here or not, right? But I think that one thing I would go back and tell myself is that no matter how lost you might seem, no matter how unloved you might feel, no matter how unappreciated you might feel like other people take you for granted, that you will always have your back. And, I think that, like, for myself, I had really low confidence in so many different areas because I didn't, just like Kim talked about, she can't spell the word entrepreneur. I can't spell it either myself. I still can't read properly. I was illiterate up until high school. I was dealing with so much different abuse and trauma inside my home and outside the home. And I was constantly looking out for everybody else that I forgot to focus on myself. And one thing that I wish that I might have done more that I didn't do is explore and not to box myself in to an identity that this is my cap and that's as far as I can reach because of what people told me or, my lack of ability in certain areas. Because I think that so many times we get caught up in, as adults, as we get to being adults, I think sometimes we box ourselves even more because of all of the responsibilities and day-to-day things that we have to think about. But I just want to let people know that, believe in yourself, explore as much as you possibly can, because with exploration, you get to really discover who your true self is. A lot of times we miss opportunities because we're either too scared, too afraid, or just don't believe enough in ourselves or whatever craziness is that is going on around us. So just take the moment to learn about who you are and do the things that you love, because the things that when you're happy, ultimately everybody else around you is going to be happy as well.
Love that. It's so true. It is so true. Um, you guys are going to make me tear up too. It's just, you're so many expectations and sometimes you just don't focus, or you can't focus on yourself. McKinney, I'm going to get you to answer this, and as well as Jolene, and I'm going to do something a little bit different here. Like I said, I see the chat, and if anybody, this is such a sensitive topic of just, if you wish you can speak to your younger self, if there's somebody that actually wants to share something, put it in the chat. And if you put it on the chat and say you want to put your camera on, and if this is a moment that you want to seize right now, let me know. McKinney, I'm going to kick this one to you, and then we're going to get Jolene in on this.
Yeah, I mean, I was someone that grew up with a lot of self-doubt. And I can still say to this day, I still have some of those days. But I recently heard that almost, I think it's over 60% of the population basically doesn't feel that anyone would care if they were no longer here. And I got really emotional when I heard that. So I would definitely tell myself that you matter, that you are enough, that like the world would not be the same place without you, that your story is needed, your experiences are needed. You have value. Everything that you need is inside of you. If you just tap into what is in here and you hold on to that and you honor that, you'll start to attract more of that in order to help you manifest to where you are supposed to be. I think as a child, there's, I'm going to say, a lot of people that grow up in households where are still adults now dealing with childhood wounds and trying to heal childhood traumas. So I would definitely tell myself, you can do this. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter how they feel. You can do this. If you believe it, then you can make it possible.
Love that. Love that. Jolene, what would you tell your younger self? And what message are you going to tell that little inner Jolene?
I will tell her to not shut down her lightness, to adjust herself to please others. And I will tell her also, don't be afraid to be alone sometime, because your DNA, it's the ego, and egos fly alone. But don't worry, you're gonna find some people on the top that you can relate. And what level you're gonna at, don't forget, it's to give you a better view who needs your help downstairs, and to help them to climb that mountain and become what they're supposed to come. And also success, it's like a decision. Don't wait to have approbation to do what you have to do.
Right. Yep. Just
do it, and the right person will be there. The opportunity is gonna just open. The door is gonna open in front of you. So that's pretty what I will tell myself.
I love that. Honestly, to me, one of the most powerful taglines in the world is just do it. Like, you just find yourself in life, just do it. Like, you get it. When you get a certain age, it's like you wear it and it's just different, I'm going to just go to the chat. I'm just veering off my own house rules, but you know what? In a moment like this, let's just all talk it out. Hueda, am I saying your name properly? Excuse me if I'm not. But in the chat, if you would like to talk about her too, I can read it. She says, I'd like to tell my younger self to believe in myself more and to embrace the leadership qualities that I have. No point worrying about what others think, and just develop my own God-given talents, regardless of what's fed from your mind at a younger age. And that, what I love right there is the God-given talent. For me, I do believe in God. Other people, you might have, spirituality or Mother Nature, whatever it is that grounds you. It's important to realize that as well. So that's such a powerful, powerful point. Thank you for putting that in. And then we also have, I tell myself to relax. and have fun. It's not that serious. Right. And so many of us do. I mean, I personally I had a child at a very young age. I have a 26-year-old, and I know just in life, it just gets to you. And sometimes you take life really seriously and you try to make up, but you know what? Wouldn't change it to save my life. You are who you are because of what you've been through. So writing that letter will just help you on that journey. You might not necessarily want to change it, but you might want to just help you through a little bit more mentally so you can get through it. And I love this. Karen Roberts says, God didn't make a nobody, he made a somebody. Love it. Love it. And a comment is, I would tell myself to keep being brave and support your sister a little bit more. Guys, this is getting pretty deep. That is beautiful. And then Dr. Colleen said, that's beautiful, Karen. So I'm actually really loving this. So, let's take this on a level where, we have people here who want to be entrepreneurs and people who want to take the next steps and do stuff, whether it's an entrepreneur or if they want to take the next steps into their career. I'm going to ask Kim this question. What is important and what do you feel helps with either habits or routine? Like, how can we take simple steps and get started tomorrow?
Okay. I love that question. And I think I'm just going to back it up a little bit when you said, you feel like a lot of the people that are on this call tonight and perhaps listening to the recording are wanting to pursue something more in their life, whether that be something that they are passionate about, whether that is starting another small business, going for a promotion, whatever that is, going back to school, all of those things. And I think one of the things that I learned very early on with all of this idea of entrepreneurship or pursuing opening my own business or starting my own headband line, I had to figure out, first of all, who's doing it really freaking well. And I wanted to ask some freaking questions. How are you doing this all, right? Because I think it's important to remember that those women that you see, right, or those people that you see that you deem as so successful, and maybe you have some envy, or maybe you have some jealousy, or maybe you have some self-belief or saboteur in you saying, there's no way I could do that. In fact, what I'll share, and I love this, this is from Gabrielle Bernstein said this, and I'm sure other people did, but this is who I heard it from. They said, go where you're envious, because if it's on your heart, if you feel envy, it means it's there for you, right? It's there for you. So that is the place I'd start. Where are you envious? Reflect on where you're envious. Reflect on what inspires you. Reflect on who inspires you. Reflect on that IG account you can't stop watching, or that person's podcast you can't stop binge listening to, and figure out what is it that's about that's either intriguing you, interesting you, getting you excited. So I'd first do an assessment. I do an assessment on where are you at? Mm-hmm. How's your happiness meter? How are you really feeling? Like, are you content? Are you happy in your life? Are you happy with your finances? Are you happy in your career? Are you complaining about everything at work? Are you the Sally sucker? Maybe that's a terrible word, but are you sucking the life out of the conversations because you're so upset? That's where you start. Because I believe, yes, we can layer on routines and habits and incredible meditations and journals and all those things. We can do all those things.
Right.
But the first place I think you need to start is actually an actual assessment of you getting quiet. I love when Jolene said that, give yourself space to get quiet. And a lot of us don't like getting quiet because we don't like what we have to hear.
Right.
Or we're scared. So be open to the quiet and listen a little bit more, because when you start to listen, you start to actually feel those nudges. And that's where I would suggest starting.
Wow. I just don't even ever know where to start when you're just dropping all these nuggets. I mean, I've never heard that twist on the feeling of envy. That is amazing. I don't know how anyone else feels, but that makes complete sense if you actually think about it. That was amazing. I really appreciated that. You know what? Harpreet, if you want to jump in on that, that'd be great as well.
Yes, when you were asking the question, my internet kind of got chipped out. If you could ask that question again.
No, no worries. I just wanted to know, like, like, what steps or what points can you give somebody who wants to be an entrepreneur, or they have a career? Is it a routine or habit? Like, what can they do and start tomorrow, or something that they can take away from this conversation and execute?
I think that question had layers to it. And I think that one of the common things that I've come across, and it was for myself as well too, when we think about, entrepreneurship, sometimes we think about being jack of all trades, and you know what, this is my passion, I try this and I want to try that, and I also want to try that thing over there. And I think it's so important to pick one thing and focus on that one thing, because as much as we want to think that we can juggle like 5 different businesses at the same time, it is extremely challenging, and there's just so much to entrepreneurship than what the eye can see. I think that sometimes like that idea of jack of all trades and master of none. I started to learn that jack of all trades, you want to be a master in one particular area, one industry, because it's the people who are masters in their craft who are become the experts, and the experts are the ones who get paid the big money. Who are jack of all trades, you can never learn everything about it that you need to learn within that particular industry. So you're going to be stretching yourself really, really thin. And when it comes to entrepreneurship, there's a difference between being self-employed and actually owning a business.
Right.
Self-employment is just, you go from owning a job, having a job, to owning your job. Whereas when you have a business, you're running something that you can take your foot off the wheel and you can actually let other people run your business. And one of my mentors, he told me, there's a difference between working in your business and there's a difference between working on your business. Yeah. The in your business is the day-to-day things that you have to do, the admin, the customer service, the follow-ups, all of those kind of things. The on your business is the visions, the scaling, what you're going to do in the next 2, 5, 6 years. And that's you working on your business. And of course, when you're starting any sort of entrepreneur venture, you're going to have to work in your business and on your business simultaneously, because you're going to have to wear all of these different hats. And if you're juggling 3 or 4 different things at the same time, it's going to be extremely challenging. And I think sometimes, fear also makes us want to do multiple things, because we're like, if this doesn't work, then I have that backup plan. Because like, even when I started in the financial services industry, I started with insurance and investments, but then I was like, you know what, I could be a real estate agent. I can also be a mortgage agent, and I can do all of these things. Because I'm like, well, if I have clients, then I can help them with all these different areas. Yep. And it's like, no, you're going to fall short. You're not going to be able to help your client at the best capacity that you can help them at. So just focus and become the master of your craft. And then once your business is more on autopilot, you can maybe think about other ways to venture.
Wow.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
You can hear me?
Yeah, who's that? Say your name.
My name is Jacqueline Holstead, and I follow you, and I was so excited that you're back. What I'd like to say is that you'll probably fail, but do it anyways. And I think that's really important, because without failing, you don't learn, and you become stronger as a result of the failure, and you become maybe wiser, but you'll at least know. And once you fail, eventually through perseverance, you'll probably break through in some capacity. It may not be what you expect, but if you believe in God or believe in whatever you believe in, yeah, I think doors will eventually open for you. Like for me, I was the receptionist at the Raptors when they first came to town, and it didn't work out, and that was 25 years ago. Now, 25 years later, I'm involved in something that I never thought I would be involved in. And I eventually got investigated twice by my workplace, and they found nothing. So I'm being investigated, and it might work out in my favor.
Yeah. You know what? And that's the thing. Sometimes what you think is something bad in your life, sometimes it turns around and it's for your favor and for your blessing. I don't believe in losses. I believe in learning. You learn from something that just didn't work out. And so thank you so much for sharing that. And you know what? I love the fact that you chimed in and that you're back. And we will be having a Facebook group where we can all keep this going and the conversation going, that I can hope we can all chime in on. Loving it. Jolene, if you would love to give us a few tips, something that we can do and start tomorrow, bite-sized things, crawl, walk, run. I always say every second, every minute, every hour. What can we do tomorrow that we can implement and just say, okay, I did this one thing really well?
Tomorrow, I will say, like, to take a time to first have your why clearly defined. Why you want to start, why you want to do that, and also I will say that to find some mentors, to find some people that is going to help you, because when you start a new things, you need to change your environment, so it's very important. And also, like him, that's happened to me when I was I was like, oh, I saw people hire, and I was like, I said, no, Jolene, don't be afraid to walk in the shadow of those who shine. It's going to take nothing from you. So don't be afraid to walk on the shadow of those who are higher. Go and ask the good question, not what you do, but how you do it. What is the mindset? Because what I find, it's not just doing what they do, but it's to have the good mindset to accomplish what they did. Because just doing it, it's not enough. We need the mindset. And those mentors, they can, did you hear me? Because I got cut, huh? That's okay? Okay. So you go and you ask question to know what was the mindset and everything. And if they do it, you can do it. So that, yeah. And if you have the idea, it's because God's already put everything you need inside to accomplish it. So trust yourself, have the good environment, and ask good questions.
Love it. Love it. Love that. Makini, can you give us something as well? I know you have journals and guidance, because honestly, like, my biggest thing is we have these calls, and I've said this so many times, you're all motivated, like, yeah, we're ready to go, you're bonded. And then like 48 hours later, you're like, oh man, now what? It felt really good in the moment, but now what?
Yeah.
So how do we keep this going so after this call, people can have something tangible to hold on to, the next steps of what they want to do, etc.?
So my response is really a combination of everything everyone else said, but I'll break things down a little differently. So it is very important to be very clear about what you want, your vision for your future, because what you want for your personal life and your business life, like, they sync together. So first, having a very clear vision of what it is that you want. And then when you decide what it is that you want to do, look at your goal for your business or your entrepreneurship, whatever that goal may be, and break those down into 3 types of goals. So I call them ABC goals. A goals are goals you already, like, doing something you already know how to do. B goals are like doing something that you think you can do, but you're not really sure how to do that thing. It's like, I call them, they're like circumstantial goals. Like, you'd be able to accomplish this goal if such and such and such lined up into place. And then you have your C goals, which are those massive goals, your fantasies, those things that are so big, they scare the crap out of you. You don't know how you're going to do it. But then start to feel those C goals on an emotional level, like attach yourself on an emotional level to those big C goals, those giant goals that scare you. And then start from the goal and work backwards. What is one thing that you can do today towards that goal? What is one thing you can do this week towards that goal? What is one thing you can do this month towards that goal? Just take baby steps. It's like the compound interest. Like, someone in the chat talked about the book Atomic Habits. It's breaking down those big things into bite-sized pieces.
I love that. I think I need to rewind 1 second. Maybe someone inspired can write this in the chat. Can you please go? I saw some pens going. A, what is A, B, and C? Let's write this down. Let's commit this to memory because that was actually pretty good. So A.
A goals are what you like, a goal of something you already know how to do. For some people, that may be like an A goal. For someone, maybe to buy a car. Well, do you already own a car? Then an A goal is, they're linear goals. They're not goals that are stretching you.
Okay.
B goals are something that you think you can do. So those are really your circumstantial goals where you feel like you can do that if other things lined up into place. And then your C goals are your fantasies, those massive, massive goals that you have no idea how the heck you're going to do it, but that's your dream. That's something you really, really want to do.
Boom. Love it. Love it. I'm going to be like, McKinney, I'm on C. Can we talk this out?
I got you.
And then you always need that wing person or somebody who'll just run with you with your C goals. And that's usually McKinney too. You're like, let's do it. So that's awesome. And then also the power of routine. Like Kim, when we were speaking, you had mentioned routine. And that was something else that I was like, okay, because sometimes, I just want to watch Netflix for 10 more minutes. So I'll discipline myself after 20 minutes. But Kim, can you just talk to us a little bit about a routine and how to help?
Yeah, you know what? I want to share something that I think is important because I don't want to come across as a fraud. So I'm going to be really honest with you since we're getting honest. Is that fair? Yes. And McKinney's going to be like, yeah, it's true. I know exactly what she's like. I feel like you're going to know this. So I was a morning routine ninja. Right? Like I had it locked where I would wake up early. It wouldn't matter whether or not I had a night where I was working because as an entrepreneur, for me, like I work until I am done working and then I go to bed, right? For me, this isn't about, I replaced Netflix with connection. I replaced the time I had, like every single thing I do as an entrepreneur, like for real, it has to have either an impact or an income related to it. So I'm either doing this for impact or I'm doing this because it's moving my family forward and it's income producing, right? Those are my two things. And so for me, my morning routine is everything. It is, and Trent Shelton says this perfectly. He said, if you don't have an evening routine, you can't have a morning routine. So you do need to start looking at your evening routine. So to Connie's point, if you are binge watching, I'll just look at this thing, or you catch yourself on your phone. I've got this thing. If I catch myself in a scroll, I put my phone down and I go to bed because I'm now no longer useful. I'm now no longer doing anything that's impactful and I'm done. So that's my benchmark. So I want to share this with you because I wonder if there'll be some resonation. It will resonate here for what we've all walked through as a collective world. So 2 years ago, I had my morning routine down. I was journaling, meditating up between 5 and 6 a.m., like very, very purposeful intention. My best morning is when I wake up and rise before my alarm goes off. And I love The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. He was a huge person that helped me actually really solidify my morning routine. So if you have not yet read The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, beautiful read, great place to start. It'll immediately put you into like 5 steps of like journaling, meditation, your movement. Like it really helped me. And then what happened for us, and this happened on October 27th of 2019, my husband had a heart attack. My husband had a cardiac arrest and I was sitting right here. And my daughter came in and she said, Mommy, there's something not right with Daddy. And I went up and was the first responder and did 8 minutes of CPR on my husband. He's here, he's safe and he's fine. But that really injured me hard. And, I thought I was so good. And I thought I could just get back into my morning routine. And I couldn't. I needed to sleep. I needed to do something different. And here's the thing, when things happen for you in your life, like a trauma or a really hard situation or something that knocks the wind right out of you, you can't just go back to what it was, like a world pandemic.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. We all have had this crazy collective trauma and in our own way, in our own lived experience. And for me, I've had to rebuild my routine. So I want to give you permission to be flexible and nimble in your routine. So if you feel like, well, I don't have one, it's all fallen away, you can start again tomorrow. Right. You can start with one thing tomorrow and it won't look like the same routine you had. and give yourself permission to heal and to grow and to say, it doesn't have to look the same. It doesn't have to be the same journal. It doesn't have to be the same spot. We remodeled our entire house because I was like, the walls have to come down. And while we ripped out those walls, as we ripped out those walls, I rebuilt some new ones. And I'm really proud of that. And I want to give you permission to rebuild some new walls today, tonight, right now, to stop the story that you're telling yourself of why you cannot grow, heal, implement, do. And morning routine has saved me. It saved me before when I didn't know I needed saving, when I needed to save the story that I was telling myself that I wasn't good enough, I wasn't worthy. And what it did was it built me to a multiple figure income to be able to start to see the result, to see the resemblance. Right. But you have to be able to you have to have a vision. You have to be able to see what you're doing before you can even get there. And if you have no roadmap, if you have no vision, if you have no why, like Jolene talked about, like you won't get very far. And that's where you start right now. Your morning routine can consist of you sitting with your hand on your heart and your hand on your belly saying, what do I even want? What's my vision? I look at my vision board every day. And I visualize what it's going to feel like when I start to accomplish these things. I know what it's going to smell like. Like I know what it's going to taste like. And that is synchronicity. And I want to remind you that it's okay to just rebuild. It's okay to restart. Every single one of us have our story of what has ripped the world out from underneath you. And then you rebuild. And I just want to honor that you're not alone. And I want to honor that it will be painful, but I will tell you that staying stuck and staying underneath the weighted blanket while your snooze button goes off is harder. Right. It is harder than getting up. It is harder than recreating your life again. It is harder than doing it in a different path.
Can I add, sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, can I add to what Kim was saying just now about when her morning was shifted and she just needed to sleep? I think that sometimes people associate sleep with being stagnant, nothing is happening. But if you rest is also growth. If you are someone who goes to the gym and you're working out, you know, today you're doing leg day, but tomorrow you're doing a different part of the body because you're allowing your legs to rest as the muscle is growing. So, you know, when the pandemic first hit and everyone was talking about, oh, well, now is the time when you need to jump and do this and that. And if you're not, you're wasting your life. I was that person. I was like, there might be 50% of the population that needs to rest right now. Right. You know, it's honoring what you need in that moment. I think oftentimes we look at either what someone else is doing for their self-care routine and think that that's what we need, but it's really about honoring what you need in that moment. And sometimes rest is what you need in order to grow. And, you know, Kim talked about her traumatic moment with her husband, and Kim's had so many traumatic moments. But when you look at our subconscious mind, they say there's only really two ways to change our way of thinking and to change our way of being. And one is through a huge emotional bang, which is usually trauma. And the pandemic hit us all. That was a form of trauma. It shifted our way of being, our way of thinking instantly. And then two is through repetition, repeating the things over and over again. And that's the being, like when you're resting, that could also be growth.
Right.
Can I say something? I'm so sorry. I just realized this just maybe yesterday, and that mental strength is a lot easier to achieve than physical strength. I'm having some issues at my job. I had a stay-at-home order for over a year. Mentally, I could handle it because I've lived on my own for the last 15 years. So the pandemic, it was like a regular day for me. But what I realized is that the mind and the body work together. And even though you can control your mind, a lot of people can. They think that they can live longer by taking vitamins and doing all kinds of crazy things with their minds. You can control your mind. You can think your reality. You can manifest your reality through your mind. But when your body shuts down, that's another story. And during that year, I was by myself, but my body came back, and it kind of said, you know what? You think your mind is in charge? Well, your body is in charge.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
started bleeding. I was throwing up. I couldn't talk. I couldn't walk. I couldn't even text. I couldn't do anything. I was a vegetable. I spent 10 days in the hospital just trying to fight my way back to life. And I made it. 10 days later, they sent me home. But all I'm saying is that you have to pay attention to both, and not just your mind and, being present and, being alert and trying to control your thoughts, because your body will pay you back if you think, oh, I can do this. God is saying that, no, I can do this. And you have to put everything together and not just concentrate on one part of your physiology.
I totally agree with you. Like mind, body, and soul, it all connects together. And thank you again for sharing that. And again, I encourage everybody afterwards, we're going to be putting up information to continue talking and finding support in each other with the LeadHer TeacHer Facebook group that we're going to be doing. So thank you so much for sharing that. I also wonder too, like when we talk about, mind, body, and soul, some people are nocturnal. So do these same rules apply if you're a nighttime person? You just want to go, 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 and you're like productive till 3 a.m. So I'm going to set us up on a poll right now. And I just want to know right now, how many of you have a routine? So we'll take a second, we'll do a poll. And I just want to know, do you have a daily self-care regime? Like how many of us really take the time to do that? So if you guys can take just a second to answer that, would be great. In the meantime, I just wanted to really reflect on the fact that there are bite-sized things that we can do. And Harpreet, we had a conversation and we're talking about, let's get into some details. So you're a business owner and you want to do some things, and you were talking about some stuff. And I was like, without getting into the whole gambit, you were also mentioning that if you are a business owner, there's certain things that we should have to be protected and safe. Can you touch on that lightly? And again, we'll provide more information within the Facebook group and everything like that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think this advice applies to any and everybody, really, not just people who are entrepreneurs, but, I was one of those people before I got educated about life insurance and just financial literacy in general. I was the biggest non-believer of insurance because of the negative connotations that we hear, certain experiences, maybe the lack of education. I used to swear that I would never get life insurance because I thought it was a scam. What's the purpose of putting your money into this thing that you don't really benefit of? You don't learn about, how taxes and all these things apply. When we die, our debt can get transferred, but our wealth doesn't necessarily get transferred. And when I was 19, I was diagnosed with an ulcer. It's called ulcerative colitis. So I had internal bleeding for 6 straight years. And I'm not talking about just little bleeding. I'm talking about aggressive bleeding to the point where the doctors were just even surprised that I was alive. I was really close to having my colon removed and replaced with a plastic bag, essentially. It's like a 3-step surgery. My medication was costing me $2,000 a month at least. And at the time, 19 to 24-ish, I was still working pretty, minimum wage, low paying jobs, I would say. And I worked day and night. I had to work overnight shifts, day shifts. I was lucky if I got 2 hours of sleep a night. And I didn't know at the time that I know now, having certain products put into place, like insurance products, whether it's life insurance, critical illness, is so important, because building wealth is not just about building it and investing it and creating this massive empire. It's also about, protecting everything that can shift your lifestyle, that can make you go back to not ground zero, but sometimes into the negative. We think about homelessness in Canada, and a lot of homelessness comes from tragic tragic issues where people were fine financially, and then something crazy happened and they weren't able to sustain themselves anymore. Kim mentioned about the heart attack that her husband had. Heart attacks occur, I think, about every 7 minutes in Canada. That's a pretty rapid rate. And so just like people don't talk about their money issues, people don't talk about their health issues. Like when I was going through my ulcer, I know I can speak for myself, outside of my direct family, because they lived with me, and maybe my best friend and one other person, which I was in a relationship with at the time, nobody else knew I was going through this. Even my bosses didn't know I was going through this. I didn't tell anybody. For one, I just didn't want to play the victim. I didn't want anybody feeling sorry for me, and just all these ridiculous things that we,
suffering
think about.
in silence.
Right, exactly.
Silence. We all do that. Yep.
Exactly. And I think back in hindsight, if my parents had critical illness insurance on me as a child, then I could have taken a year off or so, or whatever amount of time I needed to really heal, because, we're so sometimes fixated on our goals and we got to do on a day-to-day basis. But when a health crisis happens, that's when you got to put all of those things sometimes to the side and just focus on your health. Because if your health is not in top tier condition, then honestly, nothing really else matters. The money doesn't matter. The goals don't matter, because at the end of the day, you are your biggest asset. And I think about, having to work 17, 18 hours a day, every single day. I became a zombie. I love laughing. Anything can make me laugh. But I got to the point where you would tell me the funniest joke and I was so tired, and I'm just like looking at you like this. And I became a zombie. And I think about, how painful that was at that time, and just got to protect ourselves. We definitely got to protect ourselves. If you guys need education, I provide free financial literacy education on a monthly basis. You can always tap in, or you can even book an appointment as well.
Yeah, I love that. You know what? And we'll set some stuff up in the group, like with McKinney and Kim and Jolene. Like, would love to see how she paints a face and gives me a demo. We're gonna put all this stuff in our group. And there's something else, what you had said, that you can even get insurance on your employees if somebody dies, because replacing income. So that's a whole nother conversation, guys. There's so much there. I just wanted to touch on that, because we just forget about our health and the repercussions of that. Like, we're like, go, go, go. Okay, well, wonder if we're not healthy, what are we going to do? That also leads me to talk about just some tips about being healthy and making sure that your mind's right and your body's right and everything. In a couple minutes, I'm going to introduce somebody on the call. Her name's Dr. Colleen Pendergrass, and she's going to walk us through a few steps. But before that, I just wanted to ask you guys the question that I'm sure everybody goes through, and it's serious. Like, what happens and what do you do when you have those days where you just want to give up? Where you're like, man, I've tried. It feels like you're trying so hard and everything's against you. Jolene, can you lead us into that one? Like, what do you do when you've had enough? Because we all have those days.
I take a rest. Yeah. And, I release myself. During COVID, I find differently and I protect myself. And when it's too much, I'm going to bed, and I pray. And also, I have my vision board near my room, and I look at my vision board, and I make a resonance cardiac resonance, and my respiration, everything to reconnect with myself. And usually I'm the type of people who I aim for excellence, I give my best, and after that I learn to forget myself. When things doesn't go how I planned it, I forget myself, because I did all I can to do it. So, and I have some friend that I can lay on when things not going good, who I can talk, who's gonna lead me higher, not put me down. So it's very important, like your environments. And I found out this around that time of COVID. It was so essential to have someone who you can talk, because everybody was confused. I was confused. I was like, okay, and nothing is important anymore than our health or thinking about parents and everything. So, so it's okay to take time.
That is so crucial.
Yeah, I put myself away and I just like, okay, calm down, Julian.
I love that. And it's taking time for yourself, and people feel guilt. They associate guilt with that. And if I'm going to tear off another layer of Band-Aid, wonder if you've hit rock bottom and you don't have anybody around you. You don't have that support. You know, you might have people who aren't cheering on. How do you find that within yourself? Like, Kim, I'll kick it to you. The same question. Like, when you just want to give up, and like, what do you do? Like, how do we hold on, and how do we keep going?
I love that question, Connie. And you know what? It's so real. Like, there's also sometimes too, even that you may have a big people around you and you actually don't want to talk to them because you just are either embarrassed or you don't want to burden them, or so there's lots of different ways. But I would just honestly say that it's important to figure out your own self-soothing. Yeah. That's one of the things that I really had to learn is like, I love what Jolene just shared about resting. And sometimes I think it's giving yourself permission to rest. It's giving yourself permission to go drink water, to go outside, and to have some strategies in place when you are, when you know that you've hit a bottom. Get off social media, turn it off, turn off your phone, turn off the news, and get on your knees and freaking surrender. That I have surrendered more in my life. Could cry, makes me want to cry because it just surrender. Like, I surrender, and you just put your hands on the ground, like and lay down on the ground. Like, just lay down on the ground. Just let yourself be supported by your own surrender, because when you can surrender, you are saying, I'm safe here with myself. And if you can feel that some form of safety with yourself, you will start to believe that little voice you have that says it's okay now. Right. And we start to, give ourselves permission. The other thing that I had to do that was really powerful is I had to have a little chat with my inner child. And I needed to let her know that I was okay, and that I was strong enough to take care of her now, and that she could go play, and that was okay too. And that she could go have fun. Because my little inner child was hurting. And this little soldier that caused like to cause lots of anxiety in my heart. That is not good for me. And I just, every now and then I say, hey, yoo-hoo, it's okay. Like, it's okay. Your body keeps score and it's telling you a story. So when you're feeling like you can't go on anymore, or you don't want to, you got to pay attention. Yeah. And you got to take care of her.
I love that. It's really powerful what you're saying, and it's resonating, like, just being as real as you can, just being on the call. And we all have tiring days, weeks, months, and things that happen. And you know what? There's just something. What is it about the floor that when you lay on the floor, it's just like grounding, okay, right?
Yeah, you're going back to grounding, right? You're getting back to like Earth, Mother Nature.
Yeah, I love that. Just surrender. McKinney, can we get you to answer that? Like, when you want to give up and you want to give in, and what do you do?
I think as an entrepreneur, we have those days often, if we're being honest. No matter how much we want to make an impact and build that legacy and walk in our purpose, I think we can't avoid pain, but we can avoid suffering. And, we're not meant to suffer alone. We're not meant to go through things alone. We're built for connection. And even if we don't feel like we have someone in our inner circle that we can go to, because like Kim said, sometimes you're at a certain level and it's almost like you can't go to your friends because you feel like they're not going to understand your pain. You feel like ashamed, or you're at a certain level in life where, they would look at it like, well, you should be grateful. The toxic positivity, like, you don't want to hear all that. You
Yep.
want to be able to release what you're feeling in that moment. And Kim was my person I think it was last January. I had that moment where I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I am in pain. And I didn't know how to express that to my closest friends who have supported me for like the last 35, 40 years. And at the time, I think Kim and I were just like virtual friends, through me having her on my podcast and Instagram and stuff. And she let me like release all of that through the phone call, and she let me cry, and I didn't feel shame, because it was like I was crying to another woman who was also, in my eyes, successful and making an impact and doing those things. Because sometimes when you're in that position or that place, everyone's looking to you for help and support, but who do you go to?
Yeah.
So I reached out to someone who I felt was at my level, even though we weren't close, like at that time. I don't even think we had met in person yet at that point, but she allowed me to cry it out and to let out what I was feeling, gave me some words of encouragement, and like got off my ass and got back to work. And I had like an amazing, probably the best 3 months within my business right after that, because I felt like I wasn't completely alone.
Love it. I love that. It's true. And not feeling like you're alone. And as I was saying before, there are people there who are introverts and don't feel like they can reach out to anybody. And so how do you express that you're enough and that you can make it through and seeing another day? How do you do it? Like, would you advise anybody to do this?
I think that, of course, we all go through our trying times, and having, even if it's just one person that you can talk to, that you trust, it makes a world of a difference. I'm a true believer that if everyone had one real solid friend, it can make a difference of depression and just living a life of purpose. And so I'm so grateful and blessed to have my best friend who I've known for 23 years. And we can have moments where we laugh, we can have moments where we just talk, we can have moments of vulnerability. And she is my person that, although sometimes I like to keep it to myself, when I know I have those breaking moments, I do turn to her and have those conversations, because we need somewhere to release. There's no way that we can bottle this stuff up inside. And another thing is I'm always just thinking about, where I started and where I'm at now. And I think it was Kim earlier that mentioned, you kind of have to pick your hearts, because everything in life is really hard. I can either wallow in my sorrows for forever and forever, but I can't, because that means it's going to make me go back to some degree. And coming out of that is going to be so much harder than starting at the point that I'm at. I think it's important to recognize when you need a break and when you need to step back, but it's also important to know that there's some times where you gotta compartmentalize and also learn when you need those supports or the resources around you, and continue moving from where you're at as well. Because I think about like where I started, I feel like if I was depressed and also at the space that I first started, I think it would make things so much worse. So when I have those moments, I sleep. I'm one of those people, I don't like to be around anyone when I'm in a funk. And so I sleep, I stay to myself. If that means I'm going to Netflix in bed all day for that day, that's what it's going to be. That's my form of therapy. And then I got to remember, there's a purpose, there's a reason why you're doing this. And like we talked about God, I feel like God has me. And as long as I can constantly see what's, my vision, I got to continue working towards it, because it's going to be much more tougher if I just stay where I'm at.
I love that. It's true, having that person, and again, not everybody has that person or that person. And what I would say too is to encourage people. I say it all the time. I said at the beginning of the call, 1 second, 1 minute, 1 hour at a time. Just even taking a breath, that's an accomplishment for your day, and knowing you can get up and carry on and do something with your life. again, I just wanted to take some time out. So if anybody wants to say anything in the chat, to do it now. You guys have been very active. I'm seeing Just Breathe, Fail Forward, Karen Roberts mirrored what you were saying. Fall 7 times, get up 8. We have Shauna saying experience comes from failure. In fear that immobilizes somebody, then they get stuck. What do you do? And fail upwards mentality in the past 2 years that Jen had shared with us in the chat group. As a result, she finished writing her first book, published it. She said, taking me on a new path of advocacy for families dealing with child's chronic health issues. As a perfectionist, none of this would have happened if I gave up due to failures along the way. That is powerful. Congratulations on that. That's amazing. Again, I'd love for you to join the group and put your information in there. We can all cheer you on and support you however we can. And again, if you guys have anything, please put it in the messages right now. So what I also want to do is take a minute to introduce you guys to Dr. Colleen Prendergrass. And she has a slide with some steps just that you can do right now. That's daily. That's nothing too complicated or too epic. So I'm going to introduce Colleen right now. And she is from Limitless Healing Center. She actually came in from France herself and was in Canada, left for France and came back again and is just rebuilding herself. And we just want to give you guys some really great tips that can get you started tomorrow.
Hi, everyone. I'm really happy to be here around all of these powerful women, especially on this day, but in general. And I've been sitting here being inspired by you all. I've known Connie for many years, and if I've never told her, I've been inspired by you and everything that you're doing. So yes, I'm honored to be here just to give you some 5 simple steps that you can do to enhance your health. So simple thing we just talked about is perfect. We were just talking about rest. It's improve your sleep. I know we see a lot of things on social media about not sleeping and grinding. And while all that's great, it's also important to take time to rest, whether it be, as I saw in the chat, journaling, taking time to meditate or do different things. Taking a time for rest for yourself is extremely important. That can help us rejuvenate when we have that moment where we want to rip our hair out and just walk away from everything. Physical activity also is extremely important. Also, especially for us women, as we get older, maintaining physical activity is crucial to our health. And sometimes we get overwhelmed by the fact that we have to go out and work out 5 days a week. No, physical activity can be walking your dog, going out for a simple walk, walking up and down the stairs, something that gets you moving, especially in this era of COVID when people are working at home and sitting in front of your screens and you're not moving as much as when you were at the office. So any form of movement and physical activity is great for us. So you don't have to get stuck in going to a gym and working out. Just any little thing you can do is important. Meditation. Meditation is important. Why? Because in meditation, there's often a lot of breathing exercises, and breath is life. When we don't breathe, if you realize it, that sometimes when we get tense and we get overwhelmed, we stop breathing. We cannot survive without breathing. We can survive days without eating, even days without water, but we cannot survive very long without breathing. So taking that time to sit, center yourself, being able to feel your breath can make a huge difference. I see it with patients as they're talking to you and as they're explaining things, they're not breathing. Even when I see people work out, sometimes they forget to breathe. So breathing, meditation allows you to recenter, allows you to rest, and also allows you to come back to your breath, which is the center of life. Then nutrition. We all kind of know nutrition is important, but once again, it can be overwhelming. But start with something simple. It can be in the morning, starting off your day by limiting coffee. I know that's a very touchy topic for some people. They need their cup of coffee, but it can be something simple as just having 1 cup of coffee instead of 2 or 3. Starting your day off with a cup of hot water and lime instead of having the sugary drinks in the morning. It's simple steps. You don't want to start to overwhelm yourself. Just take the little things that you know you can do and build upon those, and it little by little. And the word diet usually worries people, but diet doesn't mean restriction. Diet just means having a sort of routine that can help you to improve your health. And this last one, I think it's extremely important, and we just talked about it. I found that this was important to explain because I don't know if you guys have heard of the blue zones. They're areas in the world where they have the most amount of people that are over 100. Okay. And I find this interesting because in those blue zones, they did a lot of research of why people are able to live over 100. And while one of the main areas is Japan, we know they eat well, they do a lot of activities, Sardinia in Italy. But one of the main things that they found that was interesting in all of the blue zones wasn't just the food, wasn't just the activity, but it was connection with people. They connected with their family, they connected with their neighborhood, with their community. And that was one of the crucial things that allowed people to live long, connecting with others. And I can tell you in my own little personal journey, moving back to Canada, here where I grew up, but I lived for almost 20 years in France, and I made connections. And those were my connections that helped me survive when I didn't have family. Moving back here, even though I found my family, I lost some of those connections. And having to rebuild that was also one of the difficulties in getting used to a country that I never thought I would have to get used to because this was home. But after being gone for so long, it's not really home anymore, and you have to rebuild those connections. So connecting with people is important and essential to good health. And if you can find those good people, even if it's just one, I'm fortunate to have one person or two friends that I can connect with no matter where I move. And someone mentioned it earlier, without judgment, and I can tell them anything and they will never judge me. And that has been something that has saved me many, many, many a time on top of my faith. So here are the 5 simple things that I thought were important to help people, little things you can do easily tomorrow, little by little, to help you enhance your health.
That's great. Thank you so much for doing that. And then it's really great. And, here's the answer for our self-care routine that just ties into what you're saying. So, 78% of people, they do practice a daily self-care regime, and 22% of the respondents did not. So, that's really great that's actually a really high percentage. I was surprised. So, I mean, again, guys, you have these chats and everything like that, and you leave like, woohoo, like improve your sleep. Yeah, we all want to do that. And how we can do that, we're going to explore that a little bit more in our chat groups. Physical activity and meditation. If anyone's been on any of the talks before, you guys know meditation. And I'll be meditating. I'll be thinking about the groceries, the laundry. What color am I supposed to be wearing for something that I'm supposed to go to? So even meditation is something to meditate about. So don't feel bad if these things just don't happen right away. And journaling is really important. So that actually leads me into McKinney. And McKinney actually has some tips for journaling. So McKinney, I'd love to get you to hop on and just give us high level some of the journaling and what people can do with journaling. And we will actually post this in the group as well.
Okay, so I guess that would be a sample of the sample version of the gratitude journal. So I don't know if you guys can see this, but you can go out and purchase an actual gratitude journal that I created to help you basically do the art of actively practicing gratitude. Connie mentioned her struggle with meditation. That's why they call it a practice, because it's something that you have to learn to do over time. Not everyone can sit and meditate. Most people can't even remain focused for more than 2 minutes at a time. You actually have to train yourself to do that. So with the gratitude journal, some people just assume that if you just think of the things that you're grateful for or write it down, that's the whole thing. But no, you actually, there goes everything. You actually have to connect on an emotional level. So when you are thinking about, let's say, for example, if I say that I'm grateful for Connie, I have to, first of all, why am I grateful for Connie? And second of all, I need to close my eyes and connect with the feeling. of why I'm grateful for Connie, of why I'm grateful for her support, why I'm grateful that she calls my names in rooms that I may have never had the opportunity to be in. Why am I grateful for Kim? Grateful for the connection, my sister from another mister, us being able to have those heart-to-heart connections. So when you think of what you're grateful for, think of the feeling with it, why you're grateful for that thing, and it will bring you onto the vibration that you need to be on to actually attract more things to be grateful for. So in the gratitude journal, you guys I don't know if you're going to get the link to the access or you'll get it in an email afterwards, but it's basically the sample version of the full journal, and it's a prompted journal. So in it, you'll be able to write down the 5 things that you're grateful for each day, the 3 things that you're going to focus on for the day, because as women, we tend to have a grocery list of to-do lists, but then we're overwhelming ourselves and we procrastinate because there's too many things on the list. So it's getting you to break it down to just the 3 things you're going to focus on for that day and your 3 affirmations. So it's 5 minutes, but it works.
Love it. That's great. That is really important, affirmations, and even just really monitoring how you guys feel for the day and stuff like that. Thank you so much, McKinney. So we are coming close to an end, and what I wanted to do in the chat group, there's everyone's Instagram there. Feel free to follow everything like that. We're trying to make it to 1,000 followers on Collective Society as well. So we'd love it if everyone on this chat can follow, join our chat group, keep this conversation going. And one more thing, I'd love everyone to hop in this message right now. Let us know where you're from. If you have a business or if you have anything, leave us your handles, put your websites in there, and I will leave it on the screen for a few minutes so everybody can take each other's information. I know I've seen some business women on here, and thank you so much. That was awesome. So we have the real McKinney Smith on Instagram, at Harpreet Gill, at Kim_M_Fitzpatrick. And then we have Jolene.Jean-Claude on Instagram. And then this is their information. We'll leave that on there for a second so you guys can write it down. And we have, I'm just going back to the chat here. So we have, somebody just said somebody just clicked off. So if you guys have any questions or anything, again, please feel free to just put it in the chat group here. I'm just checking it while speaking to you guys too. Yeah, is there a link for Dr. Colleen? Dr. Colleen just posted her link at Healing Limitlessly. I believe it was on her slide. And then we have someone from Vancouver Island as well. And then McKinney has a walkinmystilettos.com. And Jolene, please take the floor. I'd love for you to say something.
Okay, thank you. So what I want to tell you, it's one thing it's important for the routine is to take care of your skin, your face. Because as an entrepreneur, we know that we have only a few seconds to make a good impression. So the way you present yourself is very important. And don't forget to take care of your skin, because I know that by COVID, we have that Facebook look, that Netflix look. So we need some time to muscle our faces. So feel free to take a brush. At Mary Kay, we have something like a massage brush that you can make the massage to muscle the muscle of your face. Because with COVID, what we found out is that the faces go down. So we need to do some massage to help. So what you need is simple. You need a toothbrush and a paste brush. Only clean up and moisturizer. So just that, it's a good beginning. Don't forget to take care of your skin, because your face gonna tell your story. So take care of you, put some lipstick, feel good about you, and feel free to let your shine grow. So that's what I want to tell you. And if you search for someone to help you, you can go to Mary Kay Canada, and you're gonna find a consultant is going to help you to find the good product that you need to take care of your skin.
That is awesome. You know what? That is so good. And it's on a personal note, like everybody, we talk about mental health, and physical is still very important, because I went through adult acne 2 years ago, and sometimes I can still feel it coming, and it's horrible. It just, you don't want to talk to anybody. You know, essential skincare is really important, and figuring out what to do and figuring out the looks. Actually, okay, I'm so shameless. I told you guys shameless plugs, and I have to do this, but it's so real. So this is, can you guys see? This is my favorite. It's Mary Kay. I'm wearing it right now, and it's my everything. Brilliant. It's a lip gloss, and it's cafe au lait. So I was introduced to this, and I'm just pop in, and it makes me feel good. It does.
That's good.
So it does. Like I put it on, I feel like, okay, you know. So at the end of the day, it's so important. So thank you for that. And we will put information in the chat group as well. And we want you guys to put your businesses in the chat group. And this is a sisterhood that we're going to build and can communicate on and work with. We are coming to an end. I am going to leave the chat on for a few more minutes, and then we're going to play some music that you guys can vibe to. Feel free to stay on. And also, I do want to have an apology for anyone that tried to get in. We are in contact with Zoom right now, and we were having some issues probably since yesterday, and everything was supposed to. So some people, quite a few people probably were not able to get in. So apologies for that. And we will be doing more events, and we will be getting back to some in-person events. And then you'll see us again with a Mary Kay event coming up. So please look out for that. If anybody else wants to say anything, that's great. And we just have people joining in. You must try the new Supreme. Okay. I will definitely try that. So do any of the panelists have any final words before we bid adieu?